Get home from school, turn on my TV. Who are these friends staring right back at me? Now that we're old.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is 90s Babies Nostalgia. We're a couple of millennial women have fun.
Just to be clear, we are not sponsored by or affiliated with any of the channel streaming services, actors, shows that we talk about. We just really love talking about TV. And today we're talking about Young
Royals. Season 2,
2.
part 1 of 2.
Yes. We'll split it evenly. So we'll cover episodes 1 through 3 in this one. And then we'll have another episode come out next week where we'll cover episodes 4, 5, 6. Because these are beefy episodes.
Not as beefy as season 1, though.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I agree.
Before we get into it, Jessica, what have you been enjoying lately?
Okay, I have a really random one.
Mm-hmm.
But hear me out. I have discovered a new favorite wedding dress designer. I worked in the hotel business, event business, have loved weddings for majority of my life, worked on a lot of weddings. And so I am someone who has always had a favorite wedding dress designer, probably since high school, definitely since college that I remember. But I discovered this designer called Flora and Lane who designs like alternative dresses. So like a black dress with the sheer overlay that has like stars on it, or like a white dress with tons of floral embroidery all over it. So they're for your like alternative non-traditional bride. Their dresses are freaking gorgeous. Almost all of them are under $3,000, which is like super affordable for the wedding dress industry. And I don't know who this is going to speak to, but I hope it speaks to someone because I could just spend hours and hours on their website looking at like past collections, current collections, customs that they've done. Like their dresses are freaking beautiful.
I love you so much. You're so one of a kind. You're so unique.
I really am. I'm taking all of that as a compliment. What have you been enjoying?
You know what? I was gonna say The Last of Us, but since everyone watched that a year ago and you went random, I'll go random with you.
Okay.
I've been sick for the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
A little sick. I'm not enjoying that part. I'm almost completely better. All that's left is congestion. When I first got sick, you told me that sounds a lot like what I was going through. You need medicine. And I was like, I don't know how to be an adult and take medicine. What do you use? And you said Theraflu. And I bought me some Theraflu. And I have never heard of it before, would never have thought to try it. But you mix it in with hot water and it is so warm and cozy and delightful and helps clear up the congestion and isn't as abrasive as like a Dayquil and NyQuil situation. And so, guys, all kinds of things are going around right now. If you're sick, but you're not so sick that you need the Dayquil, the NyQuil, all of that, I recommend some Theraflu.
I back that recommendation. Also, when Amanda asked,
I'm drinking it right now.
Yeah. I was going to tell her that it's like drinkable and not everyone's into that. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let her go on this ride on her
I didn't
own.
even realize when buying it that that's what it was. And they still, when I bought it, they asked me if I was under or over 40 years old.
Very confusing.
It's been 2 weeks and I'm still thinking about that.
Yeah. With that, let's get into our season 2 of Young Royals. This was released on November 1st of 2022, so it's been out for
over a year.
Over a year. I was going to say almost a year and a half, but not quite. We already went through the cast and stuff in our first kickoff episode, but in this season, we do get an additional cast member, Marcus, who is played by, give it a whirl, Amanda.
She said, not me.
I'm not trying.
It's Swedish. I thought you went to Swedish camp for 10 years.
Yeah, but I didn't speak Swedish.
What do you do in Swedish camp?
Oh, we'll get to that a different day. I can say, I love you, and that's about it. I used to know how to say sentences, but not much anymore.
Yeah, jeg elsker deg is not hard. Yeah. That's Norwegian as well.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Waitring?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. He is, I don't know how old the actor was, but Marcus is an 18-year-old son of like the the owners of the grounds that the school has like the stables on, and also the shooting range, which was never mentioned in season 1, but apparently they have, and he kind of works there and also goes to the local high school at Berstad, but is also 18.
Correct.
Are you confused? I was.
Yeah, I didn't think of all those things combined while watching the show, but yes, that is confusing. Also, the local school that Amanda's referring to is the same one that Simone's friends attend. So Ayoub and Rosh go to the same school as Marcus.
Yes.
Episode 1. Episode 1.
1. Are y'all sick of us yet?
Yeah, seriously. Willie's lying in bed, daydreaming about Simone. Amanda says it's wet dream Wille. We'll go with both. And
He's in the palace.
he's in the palace. The queen knocks on his door and he's like, not today, and shuts the door on her and is like, I am not talking to you.
Not
And then
today, Satan.
And he puts on Eric's jacket and he gets really emotional. And then he walks over to like a bulletin board and pulls off a photo of him in August and sets it on fire.
Eric and August, and specifically burns out August's face perfectly.
Yes. And then we see that August is texting Wille, and Wille wants nothing to do with him, is ignoring the text, is still super furious about him leaking the video, as he should be. Now we're in Bjarstad.
So Sara comes home with Marcus, who she apparently is very familiar with, and her mom also knows.
Yeah.
Even though we've never seen him before.
Correct.
Yeah, just wanted to point that out.
And she gets a letter from school. She opens it up. She's super excited because she got accepted to the manor house and will be moving in with Felice and living on campus. And Marcus is just roaming around the house. Well,
He's going to the bathroom.
Yeah. And he hears Simone singing, so he just walks in Simone's room and interrupts him, and then they have like a full-on conversation, and Marcus is like, you should come karaoke with me sometime. I can't believe you've never been. You have a great singing voice. They'd love you there. Then he flirtily is like, follow me on Insta, and Simone's like, okay, I will. But then he doesn't even tell him his handle, but it's not a problem.
It doesn't matter. Felice and Wille have been gossiping, texting. We see this throughout. They're suddenly very close, and they're talking over text about how much August sucks. And then this is while she's getting her hair done, which, by the way, she goes to her natural curls. Yes, queen. And her mom calls and is like, why didn't you tell me that you're quitting writing Rousseau? We spent so much time and money finding Rousseau. And meanwhile, she's like, I don't know, I was going to tell you, but you're being annoying. And she's texting Sara while her mom's on the phone. And Sara tells her that she got into Manor House. And she's like, oh my God, mom, Sara got into Manor House. And just like completely ignores what her mom is talking about, which is kind of hilarious. Then, of course, Sara moves in immediately into Felice's room because Madeline just will conveniently be living in a single now. And Sara and Felice have to do everything together. That's normal. And Sara's like a little anxious because she's like, where do I put my stuff? And Felice is like, I don't know, find room, like whatever, but like there's not really room, but like it doesn't really come to anything because then Sara gets thrown into her manor house initiation and is forced into a weird plastic booby apron, and there's girls in weird animal masks and drinking, and she's told she has to go to the seniors party that is happening that night for the final semester of the seniors and make the party come to a halt. That is her official initiation.
And so now we're at the seniors party. August is there. He seems a little nervous about joining, but he does. Sara shows up and she's just blending in. No one's paying attention to her. So what does she do? She lights a flag on fire.
Icon shit. She lights it on fire. We don't see what it culminates to. We don't see people freak out. We don't see like anything bad happen. She lights a flag that is on the wall on fire. And then Simone sees this on Instagram and he gets worried and asks Ayoub and Rosh to give him a ride, but they're both busy and can't, so he gets Marcus. And by the time he shows up, I just have to point out, because I'm on this rant, everything's fine. Like,
Yeah.
it's like the flag was put out of fire. Like, nothing happened. Anyway.
Vili's ignoring the queen again, and he arrives at Hilerska, and he gets a call from Felice and a bunch of the girls. They're like all on speakerphone talking over one another, being like, we're at the senior party. You should crash the senior party. Let's go fuck with August. He's here. And so he walks in and he gets all the underclassmen boys and is like, we're going to go to the senior party. And Vili shows up and they're like, no, it's seniors only. Like, this is part of tradition. Get the fuck out. And then he's like, actually, bring August out here. I want to talk to him. And then there's this whole thing where he makes August address him as your Royal Highness.
Yeah.
Which is great. And then Willie cracks August, and August is like, fine, I can make an exception, and lets them in. Once they're in the party, he sees Simone, and we get like dramatic close-ups of both of their faces. And Vili calls Felice and is like, where is Sara? And is trying to help Simone out, because Simone's like, I'm trying to find Sara, I can't find her. And so Vili's like, I think she's with the girls, let me call. And then Simone has to leave to get back to Marcus. And so Vili kind of follows and sees him get in the car with Marcus. And one of the seniors who hooked up with Maddie last season, that did happen, noticed him staring and like tells him, he's like, oh, that's Marcus. He like runs the ground, yada, yada, like tells him all the information he knows about Marcus, and that he saw him on Grindr. And he's also like, you got to stay away from like Simone and Marcus and all these types of boys. Like, you need to get with someone who's like in the same world as you, basically implying he needs to date someone who's rich or royal.
Upper class. Good breeding. At school, the headmaster is talking about how this year's seniors have the honor of graduating at the 120-year celebration, and that the Queen will be in attendance, and Crown Prince Wille will give his first speech. And Billy's like, ha 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 ha, jokes? Like, no one fucking told me this. And his royal advisors are like, well, they would have told you if you ever picked up the damn phone. So he's not thrilled. Ayub and Rosh learn that Marcus took Simone to the party, and he shares that he ran into Wille, and they're on the bus at this point. And Rosh and Ayub are like, yeah, no, you gotta like cut that bitch out. Like, Wille's bad news. Block him on everything. Don't talk to him at school. Go with Marcus for a rebound. It's rebound time.
Then we learn Alexander, who got kicked out because they all blamed him for the pills and drugs, is back at school, and they're all freaking out on like how to deal with that situation because they are the ones that ratted him out. But he doesn't know who framed him, and he kind of assumes it's August, and he confirms this later on. Wille talks to Felice about his plan to make August hate his life, but he also shares like, I'm not going to share with Simone that August is the one who did it, because that's just going to create drama, and I still have a duty to protect like the noble family, and so I'm just not going to tell him.
I also don't think it's that much about his family as it is that if Simone knows, he'll go to the police and then his family will bury Simone. That was the impression I got.
Yeah, that's fair. I took it as like the queen getting in Wille's head, which happens a lot.
He said, my mom's right about one thing, which is what happens if I tell him, he'll go to the police, and then what? Will like all of that power and money against him. Also, then we see Sara getting coffee with Felice. Well, not Felice, with her friends, because Felice isn't there. And she's the last to order, and it's just a nod that like she has no money. We see her have to transfer from her savings to her checking in order to cover the money. And the coffee is like 150 Swedish kroner, and she pays like, she has like 500 in her account, which is nothing if a coffee is 150.
Simone's choir teacher scolds him for being so late. He's late. We didn't mention that, but that is a thing that happens, and informs him that he'll be singing a solo at the Jubilee. She suggests a new version of the Hilerska song. She's like, it's a Jubilee. We're going to present this to the Queen. Let's do a new version. Then we see Simone go to class. He sits next to Wille, even though he just had an entire conversation with Ayub and Rosh on how he wouldn't sit next to him, he wouldn't interact with him. Then they're at lunch, and seniors always get food first, but Wille just gets up and is like, fuck it, this is stupid. I want food. I'm going to go get first picks. And everyone's like, no, senior goes first. And the headmaster's like, actually, it's up to you guys to decide. Like, yes, that's what the current rule is, but like, you guys can decide what you want to do. So they all vote, and the underclassmen get the food as they please and just leave scraps for all the seniors. And this is when we see Alexander thank him at the table because he thinks that August is the one who framed him for the drugs. Then we see Sara lie to like Felice and her friends, like, oh, I forgot my book. I have to go run and get it, because she sees August walking by. So she runs up to August. He's ignoring her and like walking away into the forest. And he is like, why did you tell Wille? You told me you wouldn't. Like, I made calls to make sure you got the grant to get into the housing. Like, I held up my end of the deal. Why didn't you hold up yours? And Sara's like, no, I never did that. Like, I did not say anything. I don't know what you're talking about. And he's freaking out because he's like, I'm going to be punished by the royal court. This is really bad news. And Sara kind of helps calm him down, tells him to breathe, and walks him through some breathing exercises. And then she walks away to a bathroom that's on campus, and she gets down on the floor and starts masturbating, which Amanda wrote as a panic attack, but she sticks her hand up her outfit, and like, it is not a panic attack. She is like horny as hell on the floor with her hand in her pants.
This is fascinating because, okay, so she calms him down from a panic attack. And then so she storms into the bathroom, and at first I thought she was horny and masturbating. And then I thought, no, this girl is calming herself down from a panic attack. So
No,
I
I
didn't
think
see the
she's
hand
horny
go
as
up.
hell.
I didn't see the hand. Simone approaches Wille in the library to talk, just to tell him that he needs space. Like, baby, didn't you say that before the holiday break? And that they can't talk for a while. And Wille is like, he feels like he only really has Simone, and he's upset. But Simone's like, nah, man, I need space. Can't do this. Wille,
Mhm.
as Jess wrote about 25 times in this summary, still ignoring calls from the queen, his mother. Then, because he needs space and a rebound, Simone's like, what you doing? Want to go to karaoke? And they go to karaoke night with Marcus to see, they go to karaoke night to see Marcus, who is there and singing terribly.
Horribly.
Simone doesn't want to sing because he's a little shy boy, but Marcus is like, no, we'll sing together. We'll sing this love song. And they're flirting and smiling on stage. And Ayub is filming this and putting it on his Instagram story, which Wille sees and freaks out and paces around in his room and has a dramatic Wille meltdown where he calls his mom and says, this is all your fault. He's on a date with another guy. And she's like, so? And he's like, I don't want to be crown prince. I'm not Eric, and I can't do everything the way you want me to do. Put me on speaker. And she's with the royal court. And he gets up on his desk and pops a squat with his head against the window and his arms around his head. And he says on speaker to the royal court, because Lord knows why his mom actually put him on speaker, that he won't do the speech and he won't be king. And then he hangs up and screams into his pillow. And that's where the episode ends.
Guys, season 1 was dramatic. Season 2, and I don't know if it's because at the same time we have been recording and watching a lot of Sweet Life, and so this feels like such a hard turn from that. But this season feels 50 times more dramatic. There were many times that I was like, this is not happening right now.
I messaged Jess and was like, I'm convinced this is a comedy because why am I cracking up at every scene? Like, it's actually so hilarious to watch. Like, I told her about the getting up on the desk and she was like, are you kidding me? And then she messaged me when it happened because she still was like, what?
Yeah.
So let's get on the fact, first and foremost, he has the audacity. Yes, his mother is the queen. I'm so glad she has someone to humble her. He has the audacity to shut the door in her face, to regularly screen her calls, to hang up on her. Like, the drama.
Also, just like the lack of respect altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, yes, she's the queen, so you would assume the level of respect towards her should be higher. But even if she is not the queen and just his mother, there is no respect there. He does not
Yeah.
view her as an authority figure.
That would not fly in my house.
No.
I want to shout out to Felice's hair transformation, which I briefly mentioned. In the first season, she was fully straight hair all the time, and she had her little gold clips, which then halfway through the season she gave to Sara, and we never saw on Felice again. Sara started wearing them all the time. I don't think Sara's wearing them as much in this season. I haven't noted it.
No.
But Felice now went curly, and we see her in the chair at the salon getting extensions put in, and I just really loved that, like, nod anytime that there's diversity on the show, which there is quite a bit. Surprises me because I don't think of that when I think of Sweden. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sweden.
Simone, so Marcus comes to pick up Simone to take him to the seniors party to find Sara. And he gets in the back seat of Marcus's car.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I know we always see him on the bus. We don't see that like his family owns a car. I think we could assume that they probably don't. But like you would think he knows how to behave when someone else picks him up. Like Ayub and Rosh pick him up all the time. Like, why would you get in the back seat?
I think it might be the lack of familiarity. These people don't know each other. Marcus just met Simone, and he called him over like a taxi. But
Yeah.
it is weird. It is a weird thing. It's a
Yeah.
weird dynamic point. This initiation process made me feel overwhelmed and overstimulated. I can't imagine how Sara's feeling being someone on the autism spectrum, but she handles it like it's nothing, which
Yeah,
kind of surprises me.
she handles it so well. And I didn't remember that we got another initiation scene, though it makes sense that we do.
Mhm.
And I have to say, this one was just as terrifying. The only differences that like made it, I guess you could argue, like more feminine is that they had crowns and tiaras on and that there were titties. But other than that,
Yep.
it the masks were terrifying. It was still hazing, but maybe slightly less so. There wasn't like drinking spit and gross stuff like in the boys.
Yeah.
But it still was like, I was like, oh my God, this would be so like scary. And it's like you fought so hard to get a position in this house, and then now you're like being forced to drink and have to go into a party, and there's people wearing pig masks. It's just a lot.
Yeah. It was one of those things where I thought, would this matter? But the actress is on the spectrum and I'm sure she would speak up. So also, how fucking metal is it that she was told to bring this party to a halt so she lights something on fire?
Yeah.
This girl got no disregard or no regard for
No.
safety in this moment.
Mm-mm.
The party scene when we get the big bright lights behind Simone and Wille when they first see each other before he calls
Mhm.
Felice to find Sara, it's giving Heartstopper. It's giving gay. It's giving drama. It's
Mhm.
very much Charlie and Nick looking at each other from across the room with the lights behind. Well, actually, it's Nick looking at Tara and Darcy making out. Whatever. It's big gay lighting and it's dramatic as hell.
Yes.
Time stops when they lock eyes.
Yes.
Literally.
Literally, speaking of dramatic as hell, when they're sitting next to each other in class, Billy's like, "Oh, I need a pencil," and Simone's like, "Oh, here you go," and like hands him his pencil case, but then Billy can't open it, so he has to help him. But they have this moment where they touch hands, and then everything stops, and they look into each other's eyes while they're touching hands. I'm like, why is everything so damn flirty and dramatic for no reason?
Over a Garfield pencil case. I also wrote, Villain needs to borrow pencils and he can't open the pencil case. Like, rich kids really can't do shit, huh?
No, no.
It screamed incompetence.
Yeah. I don't understand how August is making Sara horny. He's so terrible. He's so horrible. He's icky. He's gross. Like, I just, what?
This is a question you're going to have for the rest of the season, guys. Plot, spoiler, sorry. We're going to get into it soon.
I mean, our whole podcast is a spoiler, so.
I kind of get it. A little bit. A little bit.
You do?
Like the part of me that doesn't like myself, yeah.
Oh no, gross. I don't like that.
He has decent hair and muscles, and he's the only male we've seen show her attention that isn't related to her, and he's not horrible to her. And also, sometimes, when you're a girl and you're into a bad boy, and you're like, I can
But
fix him.
she knows he released the sex tape of her brother at that time. That should be enough. Any attractive thought she had of him should have been removed from her brain at that point.
Sara is giving I can fix him energy hard.
Sure. Karaoke, it's not how it works. They literally are just like, oh yeah, let's do this song. And then Marcus pulls them immediately up on stage. You go on a list. They have to call your name. It's a whole process. That made me upset.
What if no one else was on the list? It was a small place.
Yeah, but have you ever been to karaoke and no one else is on the list? Someone's always on the list.
I don't go that often.
Someone's always on the list.
And at a small place.
Oh my gosh. So while, I know we brought this up, but while Wille is on top of his desk in a full ass squat, cradling his head in his arms, the queen is like, you are being hysterical. And I was like, this just is lining up too perfectly.
Yep, because what's he gonna do? He's gonna be hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
I like that we learned that Rosh is gay.
Yeah, me too.
In the conversation about how Simone needs to rebound, she mentions her ex, who is a female name, and also 2 girls at the party sit down next to August and start making out, and also the brown guy who was with Madeline last season. We don't know his name. I don't. He
know.
apparently is gay or bi. He's on Grindr, and it's really interesting to me how suddenly everyone is gay, because that wasn't a thing before.
No, it wasn't a thing before. It's also giving Heartstopper in that way.
Oh, a little bit, yeah. But that is a little bit like real life when you realize you're gay and then suddenly you're like, wait a second, everyone around me is gay too.
Yeah, it's true.
You start noticing it.
Yeah.
I really also want to shout out Rosh's masterclass in acting, because when they're on the bus, she responds okay to Simone 4 times in a row, and each time the inflection conveys something different. She holds up her entire half of the conversation with one word, and it's incredible. Simone is literally Charlie when he's all shy at the karaoke scene, and Wille is at times literally Nick, mostly when he's giving him heart eyes all the time, uncontrollably. I just had to write that down.
So Wille comes back to Hilarska. He grabs all the underclassmen and he's like, yeah, we're going to get into the party, acting like he has some big plan, which is literally just to show up and threaten August until they can get in. And I'm like, this is not a plan.
His plan is to bully.
Yeah.
He's a bully. And you know
He
what
does
my
it
friend told me?
successfully.
Sometimes bullying works.
Yeah, it does.
I love, my final note is that Ayub is so messy. Like,
Yes.
he didn't just post Simone and Marcus singing at karaoke on his story. No, his story was first him saying, LOL, I crashed their date, and then showing them singing. Like, who does that? Who does that? Who's like, oh my god, I'm crashing their date, I'm such a third wheel, like exposing them on a date for everyone.
Yeah. And like the fact that we never see Simone then confront because if I had a friend who did that, I'd be like, I did not give you permission to post that.
Oh, I don't know that I would just be like, that was kind of strange. But also the confirmation that Wille follows Ayub too.
Which makes sense. He follows Simone's friends. He cares about him. Speaking of him caring about Simone, a conversation with Rosh and Ayub and Simone is, I don't remember if Rosh says this, I think so, but she says, does he care about anything but himself?
In reference to Wille.
Wille.
The first time that they see each other, Simone and Wille, they have the conversation about Sara. Well, not really a conversation. He sees Simone being like, have you seen Sara? And then he calls police. And then after that's settled, Simone goes to leave and Wille's like, hi, by the way. Hi. I got a haircut. She did. He looks pretty good. He's got a stronger jawline. His acne's cleared up a bit. It's more scars than active, and he got a nice flippy haircut. Wille's looking good this season, I'm not gonna lie, but it just is so hilariously awkward that that's what he says. First thing is, I got a haircut. And then Simone leaves.
Yep. Because he gets the text from Marcus and he left.
He's like, okay, I have to go catch my ride. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
And then also on the bus, in English, Rosh and Ayub start chanting, rebound time. And they say, rebound time is now. And rebound time.
Yeah, and the choice of English is very interesting.
Yes. And also, like, I don't know, these boys are 15, 16, and they deserve to feel their feelings.
Completely agreed. They're kind of like, don't be upset about Wille. He was an asshole to you, which is like true, but also like Simone can't help the way he feels. Okay, episode 2.
Episode
Episode 2.
Wille is back to ignoring the queen again. And this time, the headmaster comes to him and says, your mom's on the phone. And he says, tell her I'm busy. So instead, he goes and watches Simone play piano.
And it's Sarah's 18th birthday, and the girls bring her a cake in bed and sing to her. And they all give her a gift, and it's a very nice pair of riding pants. And she's hesitant to accept them because of the cost, but they're like, it's okay, we all pitch in money to buy like a nicer gift. We do this for everyone's birthday. Like, you're not getting special treatment. But then you can tell Sara in her head is like, oh no, like I'm gonna have to do this for their birthday now.
Mm-hmm.
Then we see Simone give Sara her gift from him and his mom. And tells her like, oh, mom's making this special dinner, like come home. And she's like, no, I'm not coming home for dinner. I have a slumber party at the manor house, even though I'm like, you live there, isn't every night a slumber party? They also get her riding pants, but she's like, oh, these aren't as nice as the ones that the girls gave me, and I know that they're a good amount of money, so just return these ones.
And then Rosh and Ayub are on the phone FaceTiming with Simone to wish her a happy birthday, but then immediately are like, are you gonna see Marcus? Are you gonna have sex with Marcus? He and Simone's like, he invited me to Netflix and chill, but I'm not sure yet. The seniors are waiting for the showers because the freshmen are using their bathroom. This is how ballsy these freshmen have gotten. They're on a different floor from the seniors and they are using their bathroom, and they're pissed off in a line, and August comes up and is like, what's going on? And then Wille comes out of the shower and he's like, I'll shower later, and they're pissed off. And so Wille suggests to Vincent, you know, if you're not happy with August, you could replace him.
And Simone and Wille have to sit together during class again because there's no other open seats. And then we see Wille's like pulled from class and he's asked to bring his things with him, and he's being told John Olaf and who's the other lady? I don't remember her name. They're people from the royal court are there and are like, you're being pulled from school. We're taking you back to the palace because he threatened the monarchy. And
you can't just threaten the monarchy without consequences. So here we go.
Totally. Also, Wille leaves his sweater on the back of his chair in class when he is pulled from class. And so Simone grabs it and asks to go to the bathroom so he can see what's going on. And Wille is being told to pack and, you know, just take your essentials and then we'll have people come in and pack the rest of your stuff. But instead, he's just shaking a frog print snow globe and refusing to leave, while literally down the hall, the entire like school of characters that we know are like standing watching everything happen and listening to it all, which I find weird.
So security closes the door to physically pull him from his desk.
Yeah, and he drops the snow globe and it breaks everywhere, and we get this flashback that it's something that Eric gave to him and Eric got it from his dad, so it's like
from Grandpa,
yeah. And so then he talks to the queen on the phone and he's like, this is so embarrassing, you pulled me from class like that. And she's like, dude, you're impulsive and intense, and like we cannot have that, like there are consequences to your actions. And he's like, I can't even be seen with Simone, like he's just like spiraling. And the queen's like, if you're seen together, that will create rumors, but like you know what, if you want to live your life unconventionally, we can talk about that once you're 18, but I want you to make that decision on your own terms. And kind of like implies she'll be supportive or that she is supportive.
She really says, like, it's fine if he's gay without saying that, but she says it. But she says the issue isn't that he's gay. It's that the video happened and him being out with Simone will prompt rumors after denying that that's him in the video. And she also says,
Mm-hmm.
Eric wasn't open about his relationships either. So she
Mm-hmm.
makes it seem like this is a thing you have to wait to come of age and like be 18 or so when you decide to have any public relationship.
He doesn't want to leave Hilarska, and she agrees under two conditions: that he sees the school therapist and that he gives a speech for the Jubilee. And he's like, I will do that as long as you get rid of my bodyguards. I don't want them here.
And she says, I guess I'll try.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's rowing practice, and afterwards, Wille and Simone are making eyes at each other in the locker room because they just cannot help themselves. And Wille, of course, breaks the silence and shares that he had a conversation with his mom once they're alone, but then someone walks in, but they still kind of talk about it. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
she's supportive, like she understands. I just have to wait till I'm 18. And Simone's like, I'm so glad you feel supported, but like, I'm not waiting around for 2 years. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if that's the support you need, great. And he kind of implies, like, it's really not as great of a result as Ville thought that it was.
Mm-hmm.
And says he can't trust him because of his denying the video and that they can talk at school because they have to, but just as friends.
It is slumber party night. They're playing like an old school truth or dare game called Girl Talk, and Sara admits to being a virgin. She goes up to use the restroom, and while she's in the bathroom, Felice left her phone in the bathroom. And so Sara is reading her text with Ville about how terrible August is, and she starts to snoop, and she realizes that Felice is the one who figured out the pixel issue and that she shared this with Ville, and that's how he must have known that August is the one who did it. Then we see
Simone at his house being a little emo gay boy, squeezing and smelling Billy's sweater and looking at his fish, remembering that one sensual scene that Jessica loves so much,
Mhm,
and then works on his revision of the school song, which is so clearly about Ville, but like, okay,
mhm,
go off.
yeah,
And then he looks at himself in the mirror and is like, what? And just takes it off because
mhm,
drama. And then he messages Marcus and is like, what you doing? Literally, literally what you
mhm,
doing? Like the letter, the way that fuckboys do.
mhm,
Anyway,
mhm,
and so he goes over to Marcus's house to watch a movie, and before they can even decide on what to watch,
mhm.
Simone's jumping him. He's making out with him aggressively, and Marcus is like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! I didn't invite you over just to sleep with you. I invited you over because I really like you, and we can take
Mhm,
this slow. We have no need to rush." And
mhm.
Simone agrees, but, like, very clearly looks disappointed because, like, that's not what he came for.
He came for a rebound.
Yeah.
Sara tells August that she found out it was Felice, and she's like, you know what? You should just own up to it now before it gets out from the royal court. Like, just own up to it. Like, the consequences are going to be less if you just admit that you did it. Then she has to kiss him, and also she doesn't wait for consent and then just kisses him. Oh, and then Amanda writes she humps him, which I don't remember.
She grinds
But
on his leg while kissing him.
yeah,
Uh,
that does happen. And then she does tell him, like, oh, I want to have sex with you. And then she just leaves.
Cut to Ville at the therapist. The therapist is trying to get Ville to open up, and Ville's like, my brother died and I became crown prince. That's a lot. And he's like, yeah, 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 it would be a lot. And it's confidential if you talk to me. And he's like, but I don't have to talk then? Yeah, sure, fine. You don't have to talk. Fine. But when he leaves, he grabs a pamphlet that is about anxiety and panic attacks. Like, okay, cool. And
Mhm.
then instead of like talking about his problems, he goes to the shooting range with Felice to shoot about his problems because like masculinity, am I right? Even though it's Felice's idea, but like masculinity, am
Yeah.
I right?
No, it is Felice's idea. He does not want to go. Felice straight up drags his ass.
Yeah, and then Marcus is there, and I think that's why he didn't want to go. I don't think he would have cared if he didn't know that Marcus worked there.
Sure.
And Marcus, he's not the instructor so much as he's the supervisor. And I just have
Sure.
questions. Like, so he's there to supervise because they're minors, which tells you for sure he's 18. But also, it's school hours. I guess it's not because they're not in class when they go to the shooting. I don't know. I just, the timing and it's weird. And it's like you're having a barely not minors supervise minors. And anyway, he's like, Felice, he went on a date with Simone, and she's like, maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. They kind of talk about it, and Felice says that he has to show Simone he can be trusted.
Then we're in Forest Ridge, and we see all of the boys, the senior boys, confront August, and they're like, we elected a new prefect and team captain for the rowing team, and it's Vincent. Felice tells Sara that she's quitting riding and that Rousseau is up for sale. And this really upsets Sara, but she does. Other girls are like, oh, you can help out with my horse and you can help out with mine. And so they're kind of offering up their horses so that she doesn't, feel as upset that Rousseau is getting sold.
It doesn't work, but they do it. Vincent has them run around just for a giant field. It's not a giant field. They're not in a field. Vincent says 4 seniors can be at this rowing competition on the team because it's some socialist shit. You're all going to prove to me how much you want it by running 17-kilometer race through what is barely a path in the forest.
Yeah.
August, of course, is first place because August is only ever working out. And Simone and Wille are panting their asses off in the back. Simone's going to quit. And Wille's like, nah, I got you. We're going to cheat. And they go through a cut through where they run into Marcus because that's how the grounds work and say hi. And Simone's like, how do you know him? And he was like, I was shooting. How do you know him? And he's like, everyone from Bearstead knows everyone. And then they, taking the shortcut, just barely get the last 2 spots on the team. And nobody who was actually running the correct way calls them out for cheating.
No. It's like, where do you think you saw who was around you? And they were not there.
And then in the locker room, August gets a call from Jan Olaf telling him that the queen wants to meet with him on Tuesday. Simone drops his phone. He leaves it on the bench and walks off to do something. And Wille sees a text from Marcus being like, you sure look hot when you're running. So that's how our episode ends with a couple of dramatic phone drops. Okay, notes. First off, with the Sara's birthday stuff, I really like how all of Felice's friends are super supportive of Sara just because Felice fucks with her. We haven't really seen them bond, but just immediately she was accepted into their friend group and they all seem like really great friends. Genuinely.
Yeah, I agree. I love their little girlfriend group. It does go to whatever. It's going to get complicated, but it's really lovely now.
Why are Wille, Simone, Sara, and Felice all in the same class as always?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, is there only one class? But then that doesn't make sense.
That does not make sense. And also, we learned Sara's 18 because she got held back a year. But aren't they? They're sophomores, not juniors. So
But
she should
Sara's
be
a year older than Simone. We learned that in season 1.
That doesn't make any sense because Wille is 16. It's confirmed. Because he has to wait 2 years until he's 18.
Yeah, so it would make Sara 17, but she got held back once, so she's 18. Because Wille and Simone are the same age. So if they are 16 and Sara is Simone's older sister, which we know, that would make her 17, but she got held back, so she's 18.
No, you're saying that it was said that she's 1 year older than him, so she's 17, but because she got held back, she's 18. That's not how age works.
We don't know that she's 1 year older. We just
You said that.
We know that she is Simone's older sister. We don't know how much older.
Well, we know now that she's 2 years older.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying if she's 2 years older and she got held back a year, she should be a grade above him.
She is.
But they're always in the same class.
I agree. That part doesn't make sense. But we do know that Sara is older than Simone. Like, that is
I
something
know. That was never up for debate. That was not my question. My question
Oh.
is, why are they in the same class? Because if she got held back a year, she should be 1 year above him.
I don't know. Boarding school operates weird. I don't know. I don't
We
have
were
an
really
answer for
fighting
you.
about nothing, Jess.
Well, you were making it sound, I don't know. You confused me. But
Okay.
classes don't make sense.
While Wille is being pulled out of class, Simone is texting Felice about what's going on. And I'm like, how do they even have each other's numbers? Like, they've literally never spoken.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. Like, they're not. Yes, Vili and Felice's friendship is shown, and obviously Vili discloses like how he's feeling about Simone, and like that those are probably things he shares with Felice. But it is weird that Felice would reach out to Simone.
Well, Simone reached out to Felice, which felt even weirder.
Yeah. Okay, I understand that he threatens the monarchy, and that's like a no. However, this is a teenager temper tantrum.
Mhm.
He is just like full on feeling his emotions and is freaking out because Simone's on a date with someone else and the man he loves is seeing someone else and he doesn't know how to process it. And so he throws a tantrum. And they are just like, we are pulling you from school and taking you back to the palace. It just seems like a slight overstep. Like, we're really, like, how about we just, again, like the therapist recommendation makes sense. Helping Billy control his emotions makes sense, but not being like, we're going to take you away from everything you love and like and all your friends. What?
Everything you love and like and all your friends?
Yeah. There is a moment where Billy asks the queen to just be his mom.
It's sweet.
It's really sweet. She's speaking very formally to him, and he's like, can you just be my mom right now? And it is really sweet. Also, I noted that when they're on the couch cuddling, Simone looks so tiny. And I'm like, Marcus didn't seem that big. And like Simone compared to Vili, like Vili is definitely a little bit bigger than Simone, but still
not
he
much.
looked like half his chest width. Like, he was tiny.
Yeah. Yeah, this was when I was like, wait a second, how old is this guy? And it's not necessarily age, but I did feel a little bit of a dynamic there that I didn't feel the first time that I watched it. With
Yeah.
regards to that.
We kind of touched on this. I think it's great that we see the queen hint that she's going to be accepting and that, she's okay with him being gay, but she also recognizes that the video wasn't okay and that like he really should be able to come out on his own terms. But then there's also where she calls it unconventional, and she kind of like isn't really giving him a choice because she's like, you just have to keep everything secret in your life for the next 2 years. That I just like, I get that we have the monarchy part of it where they're in the limelight and they need to keep things under wraps, but also just like there are times that I wish she was a better mother and less of a queen. But I guess if you have a queen as a mom, you don't get a mom.
Yeah, absolutely. That's part of that storyline that I'm getting from it. And it felt very ironic and manipulative, that conversation. I didn't love it. Like, it felt like it was framed to sound great, but wasn't great. Like, it definitely was manipulative. Because she was saying, like, I don't care if you come out as long, but it should be on your terms. But here are my terms.
Mm-hmm.
My terms are you wait 2 years. Well, is that even really real that she'll accept him in 2 years? Or is she just saying that to stall because she'll have a new plan in 2 years?
Yeah.
It is like a very strange dynamic in that conversation. This is small, but Felice's phone really has no password.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Sara just picks it up, starts scrolling, sees everything. You kidding me? The tension. When they are at the shooting range, I've seen this before, so I know it's not going to happen, but I still feel the tension every time I watch it, that Wille might just accidentally shoot Marcus.
Yeah, accidentally on purpose.
Yeah, do you feel that?
Yeah.
I feel like, because he's also not doing great, maybe the gun might just like, whoop, at the last second.
And they're like skeet shooting, so that's shotguns.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like the level of intensity too is higher because you're like, please don't.
Uh-huh. It's a heavy gun. You never know. It could slip and then...
Mm-hmm.
There's this theme of August. Is August a good person? No. No. But he is humanized a little bit. We get a little bit of depth. He is unwell in
Yeah.
a similar way that we have seen in Charlie, but different.
Very different, but yes.
Well, but it's still about control.
Yeah.
August's life is spiraling and he's taking control of it through mostly physicality. We see a lot of shots of him taking his drugs, as in ADHD meds. Almost always is he working out. He makes comments about not eating carbs. He doesn't eat that much in general. There's a comment about how he lost weight over the winter holidays. So, he does actually, the actor actually looks thinner. I don't know if that's just me, but.
No, he does.
And I don't know, I kind of like that. Not for him personally. I mean, he's a shitty character, so I don't care for him personally, but I like adding some sort of depth to his character. That he is still a child who is feeling this pressure. Some quotes.
Yeah. When talking about Marcus, Oob and Rosh are like, at least he doesn't need saving all the time, referring to, or does Sara say this?
Sara says it. She says, "Are you going to have
Yeah.
sex with Marcus?" And Simone's like, "I don't know. It's new. Doesn't matter." And she's like, "At least he doesn't need saving all the time." And I'm like,
Mhm.
raw. Like, that's
Yeah.
so fucking real.
Yep. Yep. We touched on it a little bit and we'll probably continue to touch on it, but like there is definitely this component of like Simone falling for and being attracted to people that he feels he needs to go in and help in his life with his dad and then now Wille. So yeah, it was very real. I don't know who says this, but I'm just trying to be honest about my feelings. Maybe you should try it. And I was like, the shade.
I'm 99% sure Simone says that to Wille. There's also, I didn't write this down, but there's at the point where Wille's like, "Can I sit next to you?" And because there's no other seats around, and Simone says yes, and he's like, "I thought there's just, you wanted that space that you like so much." So I feel like that's around there.
Yeah.
This
This
next quote
one?
you wrote that I also wrote it, and it's incredible, and Sara is full of gems.
Sara is full of gems. They are talking about her being a virgin, and she kind of is like, why sleep with someone if you could just come on your own? Which honestly,
Mic
true.
drop. So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Me, personally, that's my motto. Just saying.
Yeah. It's less messy.
In that same, I mean, in a multitude of ways.
That's not how I meant it, but yes.
Physically, mentally, emotionally, yes, way cleaner. In that same scene where they're having the slumber party, Felice has been texting Billy and they're like, "Get off your phone, girl." And she's like, "I just need to pee." And one of the girls says, "Sweden's tiniest bladder," which just made me chuckle. I love Vincent. Like, Vincent's so fucking funny. He's a terrible person, but he's so funny. When he starts off the practice where they go running around the fucking forest, he says, "Morning, fuckers." And then they don't respond and he goes, "Morning, fuckers." Also, the way he phrases, they can only have 4 seniors per team because some socialist shit. Like, that's the quote. Some socialist shit was just fucking funny. Episode 3?
Episode 3.
So, Wille is doing meditation. He's doing some guided meditation breathing exercises on his phone. I guess he got that from the pamphlet and going for a jog. August, meanwhile, calls up his stepdad lawyer who's like, "I was wondering how long it would take you to call me," and asking about what would theoretically happen if he leaked a video of this type. And his stepdad lawyer is like, "Well, that's distribution of child pornography, so at minimum, there's prison time." And then he's like, "Wait a second. Is this that video?" Cut. Bodyguards are just of note now stationed further out at the gates instead of at the dorm.
This is kind of us basically noting that like when Wille throws these tantrums and then has these crazy requests, they do give in to him. August skipped practice to talk to the lawyer, and Vincent is like taking it out on everyone else. And Simone is just like frustrated with the whole practice, and he's like, "I don't like knowing that we cheated."
Because I have to like prove myself in a way that you don't.
Yes. Like, you'll just get away with it, but the blame will always get placed on me for not excelling. Felice comes over to Ville's dorm, and him and Felice eat Poke Bowls, and it's just this really cute moment where, again, Ville is abusing his access to the royal court, and they're just letting him do so because they don't want to eat. I think it's like sausage night or something.
Yeah, it's pork sausages.
Mm-hmm.
Rosh Simone is training with Rosh because Rosh is a soccer player we know from season 1, and again, he's feeling pressure about rowing, which, I mean, you're doing so much practice and now you're practicing more, and they're in the snow on a field and they're doing high knees, and Simone's like, "Nah, I gotta take a break." And she's like, "You wanted stamina training, bitch. You're not gonna
Mm-hmm.
get stamina sitting on the bench." And
Mm-hmm.
Rosh and Ayu mentioned that Marcus approached them at school because Simone's been ignoring his texts, and he says that, like, he doesn't understand why, but he just can't fall in love with Marcus. And then, of course, Marcus texts him at the same time to hang out that week and is, like, considering responding, and then they're like, "Yo, we're going for food," and he doesn't respond. And Ville is spiraling that Simon is with Marcus, and he tells Felice, "I know that it should be okay, but, like, it's not okay." He's like,
Yeah.
"It's okay, but, like, for me, it's not okay."
Yeah. Like, I'm aware that I should be comfortable with this, but I'm extremely not okay that this is happening.
Honestly, like, respect. Like, that's some self-awareness.
Amazing self-awareness, especially for a 15, 16-year-old. Ville sees the therapist again. He admits now, he opens up a little bit more, but still is pretty closed off. And is like, "I'm feeling very lonely." He opens up about his relationship with Simone.
A little bit. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
references, "I met someone last year who made me feel things that I hadn't felt before," and he says, like, "In a way, I wish that I hadn't experienced that because then I wouldn't know what it felt like." I have noted that he opens up because the brown queer kid that we know of from before casually mentions to him in the hall Eric also went to the school therapist, and that, he's a socialist, but at least he's LGBTQI plus certified. At school, Villa and Simone, of course, end up in the same book report group because these boys cannot stay apart for a second. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, they grabbed a book at random, and it's not an autobiography, it's a novel that is autobiographical in nature. I looked it up, but it is a real book about a woman in the 1930s who has a crisis of faith after developing feelings for another woman
Mm-hmm.
because of course, it's gay. And they're in a group with not Vincent, but the other blonde kid that's a sophomore, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sara, who's never in class with them, but apparently is in their group, she was getting coffee or something, and Vili's like, "I'm not doing any talking for the presentation," and then the other kid goes to get coffee because 'cause they're waiting for Sara, and so he talks to Simone and is like, "Why did you tell me that you didn't know Marcus?" And he's like, "I told you I did know Marcus." And then he's like, "Yeah, but why didn't you tell me you know Marcus?" And he's like, "Okay,
Mm-hmm.
look, we have been hanging out, but, like, not that it's any of your fucking business, but we're not together."
Then we flash to Simone working on his song again. That's about Ville. Then we're at the barn and the family's checking out Rousseau. And Sarah just does not like the way that the dad is treating Rousseau. He's being kind of aggressive. He's making negative comments. And so she shoos them away. They're like, no, you are not buying this horse. And so Felice is like, "Okay, we'll find someone better. I know you think these are the worst kind of people. Like, we will make sure Rousseau goes to a good home." Simone shows his song to the choir teacher, and she's like very impressed that he wrote it himself, even though she's the one who asks him, "Hey, I'm thinking of doing like a more modern take on the Hilarska song." And I'm like, you basically asked him to go and write a song. But anyways, she's impressed that he wrote it, but tells him, "You got to get rid of the cursing," because he says fuck or fucking in the song.
Yeah.
"And you need to mention Hilarska, and then she'll speak to the principal about it." And he's like, "Okay, got it. I can do both those things."
It's just such a funny song.
Yeah, it is.
Because if you wanna say that it's about the school, it's about, like, we were in pain and confused, but we'll remember the good times. Like, that's essentially the lyrics, which, like, you could say
Mhm.
that about a boarding school as well. I don't know why you would want to in front of the queen. August is going for a run, as he does, and he doesn't just go for a run and see Sara with Rousseau. He runs to the stables to see Sara with Rousseau and invites her to his place. And she's like, why? And he's like, to talk. Simone's also there and he sees them briefly and he's like, are you friends? And she's like, no, not really. And he's like, that's good because he's trash. And she's like, well, I feel like he's trying not to be. And you
Mhm.
always say we should give people second chances and third chances and fourth chances and fifth chances, like with dad, huh? And he's like, whatever. And she's like, aren't you here to see Marcus anyway? You're not even here to see me. And he's like, yeah, okay, fine. I am here to see Marcus. So he goes to see Marcus and tells him very straight up, like, look, I just don't feel things as strongly as you do, and I don't know that I could get there. Like, I need time, and I'm not even sure that I could get there. I'm not looking for anything serious right now. And Marcus is like, it's okay. I can wait. You don't want to give up on something this beautiful? We'll take it slow. And he drives him home. And I have a lot of
Yeah.
thoughts about this, but we're going to keep going with the summary.
Yeah, I also have a lot of thoughts. Sara sneaks in August's room and she's like, okay, the last conversation prior to him inviting her over was when she was like, I want to have sex with you, and then walked out of his room. So she's like, I think this is to have sex. But really, he just wants to talk about his meeting that's upcoming with the queen and how he's like freaking out and he knows it's going to be about the video and he's not sure what his punishment is going to be. And then they start making out and that leads into more and they end up having sex. And then she just goes back to her room and Felice is like, wow, you really are getting all this time with Rousseau. And she's like, yeah, all this
Yeah.
time with Rousseau.
Now it's the day of the competition against Sprucewood, and Marcus shows up to cheer on Simone because that's taking it slow. And during this dramatic ass indoor rowing competition where they are taking turns on rowing machines,
Yeah.
going so hard that they are holding each other's feet and spotting each other on the seat and placing it. It's very strange. Vincent falls off the rowing machine and he blames Simone because Simone was the person who was supposed to place the seat. It's a close race, but the other team wins probably because of that fuck up. And
Mhm.
Wille sees Marcus console and kiss Simone after the race because, again, they're taking it slow. And he just like sulks into the locker room where Vincent is like, 3-year-olds know how to do that, blah, 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 yelling at Simone. And August is like, bro, this was supposed to be a little fun race to build camaraderie, and we don't even have that. Why are you yelling at him? And Simone
Yeah.
quits. It's a
Yep.
rare moment where August actually steps up for him.
Ville's supposed to be reading this book for the book report, but instead he's just like listening to sad girl music in his headphones, looking over.
He is the
looking over.
most dramatic montage I've ever seen in my life.
It's so dramatic. He's like, music is blasting in his headphones. He is looking at photos of Simone and he's just like walking around, moping sadly and dramatically. And this goes on for way too long for
Until
what we're
Felice
getting from this
shows up
scene.
at the end of the song. It's like we get the whole song almost.
Yeah, he's like staring through a fence at like a snowy plot of land, and Felice shows up, and you're like, what was this? August gets in his car to go to, in his car. He gets in the car that
The palace
showed up
sends.
at the school for him. Yeah, he's headed to the palace. Immediately as he gets in, he doesn't even wait for the queen to talk, and he starts to apologize. And the queen's like, stop. What you've done is unforgivable, but that is not what we're here to talk about. What we are here to talk about is I'm forced to create a backup plan because of Willie's current behavior, and you
You're
are
next.
the plan.
You're the backup. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're next in line. You're the backup. And if Philly can't step into this role, then you're going to be it. And then she gives him a copy of the Jubilee speech and is like, you need to rehearse this and memorize this in case Wilhelm can't do it.
And he's thrilled for the opportunity. He thanks her. But she also says not just the speech, but you need to come up with a whole alternate like future for yourself because who knows when you'll have to step in. And you're next
Mm-hmm.
in line.
Mm-hmm.
Wille and Felice are because of his sad girl moment and she found him. They go to his dorm. They're watching a movie, but he can't focus and he's like, "Can you just hold me?" And so she does, and she's being a supportive friend and it feels very friendly. She gives him little kisses on the cheek and that feels very friendly. And but then he's like twirling her hair and then they're like slowly their faces are getting closer and internally I'm going, "No, no, no, don't do it." And they're getting closer and closer and then they kiss and then she pulls back, like, "Wait." And then they lay down together and they start kissing more and his hand goes up her shirt and I'm freaking out. And then thank God a student interrupts them because he comes in and he's like, "Whoa, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cock block you. It's just time to go prank Sprucewood." And
Yep.
she leaves. And that's how the episode ends.
Yeah.
I'm physically like curling my fingers because that's how uncomfortable that scene makes me. Like they need to be friends. They are friends. Like don't do this, guys. Don't do this.
Well, especially because season 1 starts with Felice having this insane crush on Wille, and then they kind of develop this friendship, and then it's at the end of season 1 and into these first 3 episodes that we just discussed, their friendship is really beautiful. They really lean on each other. They're really supportive of each other.
Felice is a really good friend.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this moment ruins it, but you are like, "Oh my God, why are you fucking this up? Like, why did we have to throw this into the like? It's already messy. Why are we making it messier?"
And if they just kissed and then she pulled away and was like, "You're in a state, this isn't right," forgivable.
Yeah.
But to progress, unforgivable.
Agreed.
Let's get into the Marcus of it all. It's our first point. Like guys, our notes started to overlap and make so much sense together that I started organizing them like a little bit by timeline and also into big blocks. So Marcus.
I don't like that there is this point where Marcus brings up Simone's dad and
I don't either.
how he knows of his dad and how he's had, struggled with, his dad not being really a big part of his life and dealing with like drug abuse and alcohol abuse. And I just like, why are you bringing this up? You barely know this kid. You've been on like 2.5 dates. Like, you don't bring up that you know personal information like that. I don't know.
Agree fully. He knows of Simone, but Simone doesn't know Marcus that well. When they first meet, they're like, "Didn't we have kindergarten together or something like that?" And Marcus says that Simone's mom told his mom about some of that. That's it. But he's like, "You're not your dad." And it's like, yeah, I don't think he thinks that he is. And if he does, like, you wouldn't know that. Like, I know more about Simone than Marcus does right now. And I'm a watcher, you know?
Yeah.
I don't like it, and it brings in this weird power dynamic where I feel like it would almost plant doubt in Simone's head. Marcus does in that same conversation. This is all in the conversation where Simone is trying to break up with him, basically. And he says it up front, and Marcus like doesn't let him. He seems like the nice guy. He's like, "Look, I haven't seen the video of you and Wille, and I don't plan to." And he says he can wait for him, but he's also not really waiting.
He is like so manipulative in this scene because Simone is very clear, like, "I do not feel the same way about you. I don't think I will ever get there. I think we should just call it quits." And while sounding supportive, he's just forcing the relationship to remain in this like limbo state, even though that's very clearly not what Simone wants, but he almost makes Simone think that it's what he wants.
Yeah, because Simone even says that he doesn't think he could ever get there.
Yeah.
He's not even asking for time. He's saying, "I don't know that I could ever get there."
Yes.
Just like this person, not vibing. But Marcus uses that line of, "I know you don't want to destroy something this beautiful." Bitch, when is it beautiful? Y'all went on 2 dates max.
Yeah. And he was just trying to sleep with you, which you didn't want, which is fine. But then it's like, what is beautiful about this?
Yeah, someone just told you that they can't get to a place where they want to be with you in a serious relationship and you think that's beautiful? You got some own insecurities to deal with. It was really weird to me because I remember the first time watching through really liking Marcus and seeing him as like a very good guy and like, do I love him in the series? no, because I want Simone to be with Wille. And I'm like, ugh, just go back to the relationship you're meant to be with. We already know this is true love, even though you guys also have only known each other for like 2 months, but whatever. Like,
Yeah.
we know what the series is about and it's not Marcus. But I liked him as a person
Yeah.
and I thought he was very, very nice. But in this watch through, I don't like him.
I completely agree. I felt exactly the same way as you. I was like, I understand how they're using Marcus as a plot device, but really in the end, we know who's supposed to be together. But I didn't dislike him. I was like, Marcus is sweet. He cares about him. He can understand Simone's point of view because they grew up in the same town. He's a working man. Like, there are things that they can relate to each other on. And I really enjoyed him. But it wasn't until this watch through that I was like, Marcus is manipulative as hell and takes advantage of Simone and does not listen to anything that Simone says. And I think he's toxic.
And then when you add in that he's a couple years older than him, at least, it just, and like him talking to his friends about him, and it's just, yeah, I don't like it.
No.
Very, very small to that. I want to read that book. That was all. I looked it up. It exists. It's been translated to English as of 2020. I want to read it. Funny note, Casual Clothes Vincent is my favorite because I already noted in the last one he had some great quotes, but also he's this rich royalty boarding school kid, right? And when they're in casual clothes at the dining table, he's wearing a tie-dye shirt with a plastic bead necklace and he has the world's bluntest bowl cut. He is looking like a fuckboy of the lowest caliber at the richest school in Sweden.
Uh-huh.
He's so funny to me. Like, I just find him hilarious. Not a
Yeah.
good person, but hilarious in a way that
No.
August could never be. You know? Like, August is a bad
No.
person and also not funny. Vincent is a bad person and hilarious.
Yeah. Also, Vincent is giving fuckboy in a way that's like kind of enjoyable to watch. Where August is giving fuckboy in a way that's not enjoyable to watch.
Mm-hmm. Vincent is like, I've seen Gossip Girl, and August is like, I am Chuck Bass.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Getting into the Sara August sex scene. It's very weird that August invites her over and then she does show up and he is like in the middle of a workout, has no shirt on, is like sweaty and glistening and opens the door. And it's like, I mean, wear whatever you want, but like, if you don't want to have sex, why are you opening the door shirtless? Like, you are implying, I don't know. It was just weird to me that
I
that
mean,
was his choice.
I do think like men walk around shirtless all this time without people expecting to jump them. And
Sure.
he's been working out a lot and he's in his own dorm room. But I do see your point that he knows that Sara is coming over. And the last time she came over, she said she wanted to have sex with him.
Yeah. It's like everything combined. In normal situations, I'd be like, yes, that doesn't mean anything. But with
Yeah.
everything that's led up to this point, I'm like, that was just a weird choice. Something I did find funny is they struggle to open the condom. Like they can't get it to like tear open. And I just felt like that was a very real teenage moment and even adult moment.
I actually, the sex scene between August and Sara, I actually enjoy. Not in a gross way, not in a there this is a good moment for them way, but in the difference between this scene and the scene with August and Felice in the first season, because in that scene we see Felice trying to pleasure herself and him not being there for it. We see him getting like insecure about her closing her eyes. But in
Yeah.
this scene, he's very gentle. It's implied that he might go down on her, but she's like, "Where are you going? I want you up here." Like, and
Mhm.
it feels much more intimate and
Reciprocative.
he really likes Sara in a way that he
Hmm.
didn't like Felice because it's not about
Hmm.
status because she doesn't have any. You
Hmm.
know? So I appreciate that. I do think it's disgusting though that she comes in and he's like, "You smell like horse." And she's apologizes, takes off her coat. It's not your coat, babe. It's your whole body. They have
Hmm.
sex. She goes back to her dorm and she gets ready for bed immediately. And Felice is like, "You're not going to shower?" And she says, "I like smelling like him," which it's implied is Rousseau. And Felice is like, "Okay, you're weird." And no, she meant August. But she still smells like Rousseau and also maybe August now. And it's just gross. It's gross. It's so gross.
Yeah, it's gross. Less gross. Indoor rowing feels lame. Like, I don't know. I feel like they really hype up this competition. They hype up the rivalry between the two schools. I know August then just says like, oh, it's to build like camaraderie at the end, but it's like they are kind of hyping this up and then they're just like it's giving Orange Theory on crack. Like I don't know. It was I didn't get it.
Yeah, it's weird because it's hyped up for like 3 episodes only for it to be indoors. I don't know why they would do that other than the writers couldn't come up with another reason for Vincent to blame Simone for fucking it up. Like it is very confusing cuz why wouldn't they be in
Mhm.
boats? Even if it is just for camaraderie with another school, which actually comes to my next note, which is they don't say it's another school, it's another house. They keep saying we need to prove that Forest Ridge is the best house. So
Oh.
that debunks our theory from season 1 that they only really have like Manor House and Forest Ridge. I think they have other houses and this is another boys dormitory, and that's the point of building camaraderie is it's within the school. Cuz otherwise why are they doing it in a gym at Halerska?
Okay, but that all makes sense, and you are right because then they're gonna go get back and like egg the house, which I'm like, what
Yeah,
are they all?
exactly.
So
Yeah.
this makes sense. However, so if there are other houses, that means there's other students. So
Mhm.
why do we only see the same people
In
all
their
in the
classes?
same classes?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I brought it up because they're not even just like it's not like it's one class. It's not like we're always in math class.
No,
No.
every class.
They're in math, they're in English, any class. Any class, it's this first of all, it's the same set all the time.
Yeah.
But all the subjects they have together. I don't know why. I think I get the impression that Manor House and Forest Ridge are like sister brother houses.
Mhm.
So, but like, why would you have to put them in the same classes? Anyway, the dramatic montage with the slow mo walk. Yes, you heard right. It's not just a dramatic montage. When he leaves study hall listening to this song that he started listening to while scrolling through pictures on his phone of Simone, he then is outside walking in slow mo. Who's he? Our dramatic gay bitch, King Wille. And the song, as Jess pointed out in our previous episode, sometimes these songs are just so on the nose it hurts. And this is
Mhm.
one of them. This is
I'm
one of those
I'm
times.
so happy you wrote these lyrics down because I was thinking that, but I was like, I don't have time to look up these lyrics. But
Oh,
yes.
I typed them out as I was watching the episode.
Oh my gosh.
This one is for the lonely ones, the ones who always wonder where their friends have gone, the
It's too
boys
much.
who can't stop crying, the girls who gave up trying. That's the first stanza of the chorus. You hear it repeatedly. The boys
Oh,
who can't stop crying, Jess. That's Ville. That's our Ville.
it is really. It's just like those lyrics are dramatic and ridiculous as is. And then you
Mhm.
need to picture sad Prince Ville, slow motion, dramatically staring into the abyss and walking. Like it's just this show is so gay, so drama. Like it is just a
It's
lot
a
to
comedy. It's
handle.
like it's camp. It's so camp, it's a comedy.
Yeah.
I you know what's so funny though is that as I'm saying this and thinking about how dramatic like it's not a bad song. I enjoyed it. And I could imagine myself like opening to the Lizzie McGuire movie style as a teenager listening to a song like this and like dramatically singing the lyrics or lip sing the lyrics and like in the mirror on my own like 100% I've done that with
Oh yeah.
like Jar of Hearts like I could do a whole rendition dramatically in
Yeah.
my bathroom or wherever so I could see it but putting it to a slow mo walk in what is supposed to be a dramatic moment of the show makes it
Mhm.
inherently hilarious.
Yeah. But this is yeah, it is so over exaggerated that there are in this rewatch, Amanda and I both texted each other multiple times that it does feel comedic. Like you can't help but laugh because it's so intense and so just like drawn out and ridiculous.
And now my last note is the complete opposite. Cock block in Swedish is hilarious.
Do you remember what it was?
Cockablocker.
Okay, I was gonna say that's what it was because that's what I remembered, but then I was like, it couldn't be that.
Because he's saying in Swedish, I didn't mean to cock block you. So all my English hears here are cockablocker.
It is funny. Oh.
And he says it in such a genuine way that he's like, you know that's like the word. That's the word that they use. It's a cognate, but it just sounds funny.
Yeah, it does.
Sorry to
It
the
does.
Swedish speakers of the world. I respect you. I've learned Norwegian-ish. That's
Yeah.
not the same, but like you colonized, it's similar. Anyway, any other final thoughts, Jessica?
No, I do love this show, and I haven't rewatched this season as much, so I really enjoyed watching this last night, and I'm excited to watch the second half. It's a fun one. I'm excited for season 3 as well.
I agree. I would say this season is different to season 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say that it's worse. Like, maybe we'll get into that in the second half more. I just want to, like, for people listening to us, like, taking the piss out of these dramatic-ass scenes, we're enjoying them. We're enjoying the show. And, like, the things that are happening, I mean, the drama is dramaing. Like, it's good. It's good TV. It's well acted. I'm enjoying it. And I'm enjoying the full character development, that these are becoming messier characters, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and it is gonna get messier, which we will get into in our next episode, covering the rest of season 2. Follow us on all of our social medias, 90s Babies Nostalgia, on Instagram and YouTube. Spell out the word 90s. If you want to watch us on TikTok, use the numbers there. Please rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And with that, we will see you in the next one.
Stay gay!